Welcome back to the turn-based tutorial with Nottorus Visual Scripting, Part 2, Camera Controller. Part 2 will include the ability to select a hex and have the camera move to that hex, zooming in and out on the selected hexes, and rotating around the hexes. Alright, now we'll go ahead and set up the main camera so it operates correctly. So we're going to just go ahead and make sure it's zeroed out. We're going to go ahead and create an empty game object at world position of 0, 0, 0, 0. We're going to go ahead and just call this game object the cam root. We're going to drag our camera into the game root. After, let's go ahead and put -2 so it backs up off the cam a little bit, and then drag and drop it in. So now our cam root is the root controller. We're going to kind of angle it so it has a decent angle to it, and then it'll act like a boom arm in terms of how it operates. So see how it kind of goes around. Can't really see it in game view, but it goes around the object nicely. So we get a little bit better control that way, and can circle around the actual hex that we click on, for example. All right, now we're going to go ahead and set up the camera controller. So let's go ahead and back to Nottorus. If this is still open, I think we can go ahead and close it, and then we'll go ahead and create a new script. It's model behavior again, of course, and then we're going to call this one something as simple as camera controller. There we go. Great. So on this one, we do need the update, so we're going to leave that there, and we're going to go ahead and create 4 additional functions. And this is for the mouse or the camera rotation around the hex, and how we can zoom in and zoom out on the hex. So first function is zoom out, next one zoom in, and then we'll call this one like rotate left and rotate right. So I should rotate left, and here's a rotate right. Good. Now we have a number of variables that, of course, we'll need. So let's go ahead and just click a few of them. I think we'll need, again, 5-ish of them. So we'll go ahead and start with that. Current Z value. New Z value. We'll get the parent. So that would be for the camera parent, for example. The script will be on the camera, so we'll grab that camera parent, which will be the cam root. So we'll go ahead and create that. We'll start Z value we'll need, so let's go ahead and drag that to the top real quick. So that'll be the start, current, new, good, okay. And the last one we're going to need is rotate. Sound effects. We'll do some nice sound effects on the rotate. These are all floats, so I got that first one wrong. It needs to be a float as well. All the Z values are floats. Object parent is going to be, of course, a game object. And then the rotate sound effects will also be a game object. Oh, actually, it's going to be a an audio clip. So we'll go ahead and just select the audio clip there. Great, so let's start with the start function. What we're going to do here is we're going to grab the parent of the current object, which is the camera. So we want to grab and set that to the object parent. So then we'll use that later on. So go ahead and grab the game object from inherited properties. We're going to grab the object parent variable that we created earlier, and we're going to connect them to. So here we're going to type in game object.transform. We're going to link in the game object to the transform pin. We're going to get the transform node here for the parent. Select that, link that to the transform pin. There we go. So we'll connect that over there. Connect that in, and what we need here is the game object dot component dot game object. That allows us to connect that, and then we'll go ahead and set our game object. So we are grabbing the game object this script is attached to, grabbing the transform, making the parent, and grabbing that and setting it to object parent. There we go. Save, compile. So now we have set that. That's what we really need to do in the start function. So the next function is the update function. This is where we're going to put in the logic to for all the key commands. So when we want to rotate, zoom in, zoom out, rotate left and right, what's going to happen here. So we go ahead and grab the if statements up under flow control. That's whatever it was, right? And then we're going to have 4 of those if statements. One for left, right, up, and down each. So let's go ahead and get those centered. There we go. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and initially go ahead and connect these together. So I know that you know, if that one's not true, it's going to go ahead and go down to the next one. It's just going to go to each one of the if statements individually. I'm not going to check if it's false, go to the next one, but just check if it's true. So that's where we'll set that up. Here we're going to have a few OR statements. We're going to check a couple of different keys, so it's going to be this key or that key type of situation. So here we're going to, for each one of those sections, we'll go ahead and create an OR statement. We'll go ahead and get input, get key, and select the down, and then we'll go ahead and type in down there and connect it in, and then we're going to go ahead and really just copy that for each of the next 3, and then we will connect those into where they need to go. I have the hardest time getting some of those to connect sometimes. I do want those on the top side. It makes a little bit more sense there. Let me fix this real quick. There we go. And then, so we got all of those. Good. Now what we need to do is put we have down up there. So now we put up here, and then we'll put right here, and then left on the last one. Good. So if we get input on the key down, up, right, left. Now what we're gonna do is actually do some letters. So we're gonna do we'll just copy it and then select the particular letters that we want. In this particular case, we're going to pick W, S, A, and D. And we probably could set these up in the edit properties section, but I just wanted to make sure that we got the right key commands no matter how those are set up. We could have used the horizontal and vertical settings on the axis as well, but this seems to work well for me, so this is the way I'm using it. There we go. Now we go ahead and copy the last one here, and there we go, and we'll assign that to A. So in this particular case, if it's up or S, down or S, up or W, right or D, left or A, we'll do something here. So we'll go ahead and check for the input on each one of those. Let's make sure that you connect it into the right one. There we go. Good. So now the logic on the input of keys is completed. What we want to do if we actually input those keys, and what we're going to be doing is calling the zoom out function, the zoom in function, the rotate left or the rotate right. So we do want to get the current position of the value of z, where it starts, and how it's going to move as well for the zooming in and zooming out. So we'll go ahead and set some of these initial variables within the if statement here. So we selected start z value, connect that to the current z value, and start z value we fed into current z value. Go ahead and get the game object that this script is on. Get the transform from the game object, so we'll go ahead and select that and link the two pins together. Transform local position. Now what we do is actually need the z value itself, so vector3.z works fine here, and then link the local position to the vector3, and then link the z value out to the start z value variable. There, that is how we want that configured. Now after all of that's completed, we want to actually go to the zoom out function, and then that actually is completed. So if you push the button, it will set the z value, get the current z, start z, and then zoom out. We'll go ahead and put a notation in here so we know what this is for. This is odd behavior. Hang on one second. There we go. Should be able to copy this. Hang on, that was not going to work. What I'm trying to do here is just copy this whole thing down to the next one because it's almost identical, except for it's me calling the zoom in function instead. So let's try this again here. Select, copy, paste, and some of the pins are being connected. Must be missing something here. Hang on, let me just do the individual components. There we go. Don't actually need zoom out, but we'll grab that anyways and delete it in a second. So we just connect this exactly the way the above one is, except for we'll be calling zoom in instead of zoom out. So we'll go ahead and delete that. Drag and drop the zoom in into the correct spot, link those together, and then return. Good. So now both the zoom out and zoom in buttons should be connected through those if statements, and they will be calling the functions here defined. So we'll go ahead and add those comments back in because we know what we're actually doing later on. There we go. Now what we're going to do is the rotate left and right. So on these, we're just going to call the functions. We have no values to actually set ahead of time, so it's just straight up drag and drop the rotate left, rotate right functions, and if true, go ahead and run it, and that is it. We'll go ahead and link those to return, I guess. There we go. Good. So update function is now completed. This is good. Go ahead and save and compile, make sure there's no errors. Alright, we'll go ahead and go to the next one, zoom out. So when we push the button S or W, zoom in, zoom out, what do we want to do, right? So we're going to want to modify the Z value of the camera. So as it zooms in and out. So we're going to go ahead and grab the new Z value, current Z value, and we're going to drop a math function in here. Basically increment or decrement the zoom in, zoom out functionality of the camera by 1. So this here would be a minus 1. I think let's stuff that button there. There we go. Good. So current value plus minus 1 is the new Z value on each push of the button. what we want to do is clamp this down, because what we don't want is to be zooming in or out forever, going past the hex object, or going so far out that you can't even see the hex object at all. So we're going to clamp that to a specific float value of -7 and -2. That should allow us to zoom in and out within a reasonable amount of range without going overboard. And then we're going to set that result to the new z value as well. And there we go. Good. So this is all we needed here. We're going to go in and straighten this out, and then just copy and paste this entire thing in for the zoom in functionality, because it's identical, except for instead of a -1, it's a +1. So we'll go ahead and go over and paste this into the zoom in, connect it together. Oh look, I have that guy. Let me delete him and connect it. There we go. Good. And then we'll change the math to a plus. Good. And that's the zoom in. Good. Now we'll go ahead and the next piece is the rotate. We're going to be rotating around the hex object from the hex center. So what we're going to these two are really identical as well, so we'll be able to copy and paste the two. And we're going to go use tweening, lean tween, rotate around on this one. So we'll go ahead and look up lean tween rotate. There we go, rotate around. And we're going to be rotating around the object parent. Connect the vector 3 up on, which is the axis. And what we're going to want to do is rotate for each push the button 60 degrees, and the time it takes is 0.5. 60 degrees will nicely fit on a hex pretty well. It'll keep us on the flat side of each hex. Here we set the set ease in to slow that rotation around instead of just immediately rotating it. Either one works fine. I found that the ease, the sign in was a little bit slower and a little bit more natural. So I'll go ahead and set that. Now what we want to do is actually to make a sound, leveraging the rotate sound effects that we created earlier. So we're going to go ahead and look up play one shot, and then we're going to feed the play one shot the audio clip that we set up as a variable originally. We connect those pins together, and then we're going to get the component, the game object, the audio source of the game objects itself. There we go. I always forget that it's over there in the handed functions. There we go. So we're going to set this temporary component to the audio source, find the audio source of this object itself, and then play out that. So we will have to add an audio source to this game object. We'll do that later. There we go. So if this rotates around, it will also play a sound. So to rotate 60 degrees over 0.5 seconds using a set ease in sign, and then it's going to play a single audio clip during that process. Here we go. Put our fancy notes in there. Good. And then what we can do is just really copy paste this completely over to the rotate right, and then change it from 60 degrees to -60 degrees. Let's see if the copy paste function works this time. There we go. them together, and there we go. And then change this to negative 60 degrees, and that's it. That's good. Save, compile, make sure there's no errors. Now what we want to do is go ahead and open our hex base script. What we're going to do is add that camera control here that we didn't add before, that I left a note for. Here we want to go ahead and add a new class function called focus on hex, and that will be executed every time we click down on it. So we're going to go ahead and drag and drop that function in here on mouse down. There we go. And so that function we called each and every time so you click the mouse down, or the button goes down. There we go. And there. So what we're going to do in here is actually refocus the camera from wherever it's at on the game board to the hex piece that you selected. And we're going to use lean tween again for this. This is just going to be a straight up move of the camera parent to the center of the hex object that's been selected. So I'm just going to copy to get the parent, copy a couple of these objects because it's identical from the start function in some aspects, so saves me a little bit of time that way. There we go. What we need is the component.game object node again. It should allow us to grab the parent and feed the itween that game object. There we go. So what we're going to do is get the selected object, what we're selecting and where we're moving the camera to. So it's the selected hex variable that we set earlier. We'll grab the transform of that, and then we'll set the position. So grab the transform.position, link the two, and then link the position up to the lean tween move, and we just set that to 0.8. Depends on how quickly you want to move that camera. That'll gradually move it there, which is nice. Not too fast, not too slow. All right, save, compile. There's one issue here. I need to fix this piece right here. Actually, it's not the game object that we want, but in fact, it is the cam object. So what we're going to do is grab the cam object here, which is the camera, and we're going to get the parent of the camera. So there, that looks better. Okay, save, compile. Good. So now what we can do is make sure that that the script is on the camera. So drag and drop the script, camera controller script to the camera if it's not already there. We need to identify a rotate sound effect. Just grab some sort of short click or beep, drag and drop it in there, and that looks good. One last thing is we need to ensure that there is an audio source on the camera itself and that it's not looped. Apply a prefab to a number of hexes, copy them out to each other, and let's see how it goes. Push play. There we go. As we hover over each of the hexes, they go up and down. As we click it, the camera moves over to the hex, and as we push A, D, S, or W, the camera zooms in, zooms out, or rotates as desired. That concludes part 2 of the turn-based tutorial using Nottorus visual scripting. Future tutorials will include moving the game piece across the board, loading a level based on entering a castle, and having a cannon fire at you and finding you. So look forward to future tutorials. Thank you very much.